Every morning, millions of people around the world wake up, some with an alarm, others by sunlight. People get out of bed, brush their teeth, get dressed, have breakfast, leave their homes, and head to work. This happens in every corner of the planet, in Dubai and New York, in Delhi and London, in Berlin and Moscow. People enter subways, sit in traffic, ride bicycles, or simply walk. They spend hours in offices, construction sites, hospitals, schools, stores, and factories. In the evening, they return home, have dinner, watch the news, chat with friends, sometimes just scroll through their phones, and go to bed, only to repeat it all again tomorrow. What's the point of it all? This question doesn't depend on our profession. It's asked by a student in India, a worker in Poland, an entrepreneur in Brazil, a teacher in South Korea. Why am I living? Why does the same thing repeat itself every day? Why do I wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, and do it all over again? For a paycheck? For the future? For my family? For myself? Each of us does this, regardless of culture or language. We humans created a civilization in which our days are divided into tasks and schedules. But behind this routine, we often lose sight of meaning. And this isn't an issue of one country, religion, or era. It's a universal human question that everyone deeply asks themselves at least once in life. Perhaps meaning is already close. Maybe it's not somewhere distant, not in grand goals, but in small moments, in hugging a child before school, in a kind word from a colleague, in a cup of tea with someone dear, in doing your work with care and honesty, in simply living your day with an internal yes. Throughout history, humanity has tried answering the question, what is the meaning of life? Thinkers provided diverse, sometimes contradictory answers. These concepts help comprehend your own path and choose what truly resonates with you. Rationalist concept. Maybe you feel your life's meaning lies in seeking truth, reason, and building a fair world. You pursue knowledge, rational thinking to improve yourself and society. You wake up not just because you must, but with awareness. Today is another chance to learn something new, to contribute usefully, to understand something deeply. You start your morning reading, listening to a podcast, or simply taking a walk while contemplating your goals and tasks. Family and personal relationships. You strive to build relationships based on honesty, mutual understanding, and respect. You're ready to listen and reason, discuss rather than argue. In family life, you are caring but not intrusive because you respect another's freedom of thought. Upbringing and education. Someone like you believes the purpose of upbringing is fostering curiosity, critical thinking, and independence in children. You inspire learning not for grades, but for awareness and growth. You discuss complex topics without oversimplifying, but clearly explaining. Work and labor. At work, you aim for efficiency and accuracy. You're motivated not just by outcomes, but by the quality of decisions. You ask questions, suggest improvements, and aren't afraid to learn from others. For you, work is a means to realize intellectual potential and offer genuine benefit. Business and entrepreneurship. If you're an entrepreneur, you create products based on logic, real needs, and ethics. You think ahead, analyze thoroughly, calculate risks. You're interested in sustainability, not just profits. You see business as a means to improve the world, not merely as a source of income. Relationship with society. In society, you uphold justice, reasoned dialogue, and legality. You participate in discussions, vote, and engage politically, not driven by emotions, but understanding social mechanisms' importance. Relationship with nature. You care deeply about ecology, yet here too, you act rationally, sort waste, save resources, supports scientific and technological solutions aimed at preserving the environment. Why do you live? You, inspired by the rationalist concept, feel deep satisfaction from clarity, logic, and meaning. Even if a day passes in routine, you understand it's part of a larger journey. You don't seek instant gratification. You pursue growth, intellectual, moral, social. Know thyself, said Socrates, the ancient Greek philosopher, one of the founders of Western rationalist philosophy. A rationalist doesn't live mechanically. He lives consciously, and in that consciousness, he finds his meaning in life. Cosmic or religious concept. According to this concept, your meaning in life lies in following a higher purpose. God, fate, the universe, something greater defines our path. We are part of a grand design. Our life is not accidental. It has a purpose given from above, by God, by fate, by the universe. Everything that happens has meaning, even if we do not understand it right away. We believe in this and begin the morning with prayer, with gratitude for awakening, for the body, for a new day. You turn to God, to the universe, to your inner light. It gives you grounding, inner strength, and peace. Breakfast and getting ready also become part of a morning ritual. Not haste, but a mindful start to the day with inner silence. Family and personal relationships. Family is sacred. You strive to be loyal, caring, patient. You believe that relationships are given not only for pleasure, but also for inner growth. In conflicts, you seek meaning. What is this teaching me? Upbringing and education. You raise children with love and respect for their soul. You teach kindness, compassion, responsibility. The main thing is not just knowledge, but the formation of character. You explain to your child, you are part of a plan. You have a mission. Work and labor. Work for you is service. You do your job honestly, diligently, with respect for people. Even a simple profession can be an expression of faith. Everything you do with love and conscience has spiritual value. Business and entrepreneurship. You strive to run your business honestly, with respect for workers, clients, and society. Profit is not a goal. It's a consequence. Such an entrepreneur seeks harmony between material and spiritual. They may donate to charity, help the community, create jobs. Attitude towards society. You see brothers and sisters in people. You try to be fair, compassionate. You are not indifferent to pain and misfortune. Your social stance is based on love for your neighbor. Attitude toward nature. Nature is God's creation. You don't just use resources, you give thanks for them. You try to live carefully, with a sense of responsibility. The earth is a home given to us temporarily. Why do you live? You, a person living by the cosmic concept, feel your life as part of something greater. You are not afraid of suffering. You search for meaning in it. You do not feel like the center of the world, but a link in a chain, a servant of the design. This gives peace, confidence, and inner support. You have made us for yourself, and our heart is restless until it rests in you. St. Augustine, Christian philosopher and theologian. You live with a sense of presence of meaning, even where everything seems routine, and in this lies your inner freedom and depth. Hedonistic concept. The hedonistic concept states, the meaning of life is in pleasure and joy. This is not always about hedonism in its crude understanding. It is about the ability to value pleasant moments, the pursuit of inner comfort, physical and emotional pleasure, the refusal of suffering if it can be avoided. You wake up with the thought, how can I make this day enjoyable? Maybe turn on your favorite music, brew delicious coffee, do a light workout. You are not in a rush. It is important to live the morning with pleasure. For you, mood matters, a sense of lightness and readiness for the day. Family and personal relationships. You value harmony, You strive to avoid conflicts, seek compromises. In relationships, you seek joy, tenderness, lightness. You value romance, touch, shared joys. You do not idealize, but you look for the kind of relationship where happiness is possible. Upbringing and education. You teach your child to enjoy life. You help develop talents, explore interests. You believe that studying should not be torture. It should inspire, bring pleasure. You do not pressure, do not impose, but support. Work and labor. A person like you chooses a profession where they feel good. It is important for you that work does not harm your health, does not cause constant stress. You know how to rest, keep balance. You seek joy even in routine. Business and entrepreneurship. You create a business that brings joy to you and your clients. It may be a creative field, gastronomy, tourism, design. You focus on comfort, emotions, atmosphere. Your mission is to share pleasure with others. Attitude toward society. You support people being kinder to each other. You do not fight, you persuade. Your method is gentle strength, and you believe that happiness is contagious. In society, you express, living is pleasant. Attitude toward nature. You love nature for its beauty and calm. You love walking, traveling, enjoying nature. You're not so much rationally eco-conscious as emotionally connected to natural harmony. Why do you live? You, a person living by the hedonistic concept, feel the taste of life. You know how to pause and enjoy the moment. You do not chase the future, but live here and now. You can be light, joyful, and inspired. When we say that pleasure is the goal, we mean the absence of suffering in body and soul, said Epicurus, ancient Greek philosopher and founder of Epicureanism. The hedonist knows life is short, but if it is filled with joy, even a short life can be happy. Existential concept. Existential philosophy says, the meaning of life is not given to us in advance. It is not from above and not from outside. Every person gives their own life meaning, through choice, through actions, through honesty with oneself. Freedom is not only a right, but also a responsibility. You wake up not with a ready-made plan, but with a question. What will this day be like if I make it meaningful? Morning is a moment of silence and honest inner dialogue. You don't wait for instructions. You decide for yourself what matters. Your morning may be quiet and thoughtful. A cup of coffee, a journal, reflections, family and personal relationships. You don't seek ideal forms. You seek authenticity. For you, it's important to be real in relationships, not playing roles, but being with those chosen by your soul. You are not afraid of difficulty. You take responsibility for closeness, for sincere conversations, and for support when it's truly needed. Upbringing and education. You don't teach what's right, but personal searching. You help a child not to fear doubts and teach them to ask questions. You believe it's more important not to impose meaning, but to awaken in a person the desire to find their own. You inspire freedom in thought, in choice, in life, work and labor. Your work is not just a means of survival. It is a continuation of your inner choice. You can change paths, search for something new, because you strive for authenticity. Even in routine tasks, you try to act with respect for yourself and for the meaning of what you do. Business and entrepreneurship. If you are an entrepreneur, then your business is tied to your personal value. You don't compromise yourself for profit. You create not for outer success, but because you cannot do otherwise. Your projects reflect your personal story, your worldview, and inner integrity. Attitude toward society. You don't accept everything as it is, but you also don't oppose yourself to the world. You are involved in thoughts, actions, choices. You may be a loner, but not indifferent. You believe every voice matters if it has sincerity and conviction. attitude toward nature. You feel that a human being is part of nature. You can sit in silence for hours on a shore, watching clouds, and in this, find grounding. You live with a sense of impermanence, and precisely because of this, with gratitude. Nature to you is a reminder of the beauty and fragility of existence. Why do you live? A person who lives by the existential concept is not afraid to experience complex emotions. They know how to be alone with themselves and not be lost. Even an ordinary moment can be valuable if a person feels themselves real in it. Their meaning is not given once and for all. It is born in every action, in every choice, in every lived minute. Man is condemned to be free, wrote Jean-Paul Sartre, French philosopher and founder of existentialism. You do not wait for meaning. You create it. Every day we know as an act of freedom. You are not seeking an easy path. You are seeking your own. Aesthetic concept. The aesthetic concept says, the meaning of life is in creating beauty, in creativity and inspiration. It is not necessarily art in the narrow sense. It is a way to see and fill life with harmony, expressiveness, and meaning. To live beautifully means to live with attention to form, to detail, to inner depth. A person with such a sense of life begins the morning brewing tea in a favorite cup and listening to music. You look out the window, watching how dawn colors the sky. Your morning is not just functional, but aesthetic. You find style in clothing, meaning in silence, inspiration in small things. Morning is like a prelude to the symphony of the day, family and personal relationships. You value the beauty of communication, try to speak sincerely, attentively, beautifully, and you create an atmosphere of comfort and warmth. In relationships, you not just act, but express feelings. Your love is both care and a form of expression, in gestures, words, surroundings. Upbringing and education. You give importance to developing aesthetic taste and inner style. You teach children to see beauty in nature, literature, architecture, people. Education is not only knowledge, but refinement of perception. You develop personality through art and culture, work and labor. At work, you strive for processes and results to be not only useful, but also beautiful. You may work in design, architecture, teaching, fashion, but even in regular jobs, you try to make them more expressive, thoughtful, aesthetically pleasing. Business and entrepreneurship. A person like you creates brands and products with soul. Your business is story, style, design. You don't rush, but refine the form, seeking harmony between meaning and image. It's important to you that a product not only works, but also inspires. Attitude towards society. You feel yourself part of a cultural environment. You bring beauty into city life through festivals, exhibitions, books, films. You believe that society can be made subtler and kinder through aesthetic education. Attitude toward nature. Nature is a source of beauty. You notice light on leaves, the horizon line, the play of clouds. You care for nature because it is the greatest work of art. You walk in forests, in mountains, by the sea, not to escape, but to be inspired. Why do you live? A person living by the aesthetic concept feels inspiration, fullness, expressiveness. They strive to live life as art. Even weekdays they try to turn into a living composition. Their goal is not only to be, but to be beautiful, meaningful, whole. A person creates himself as an artist creates a painting, said Nikolai Berdyaev, Russian philosopher, thinker of freedom and creativity. You live to create from your life not just a chain of events, but an inner poem. Your meaning is in beauty, and through it, you grasp the depth of the world. Pragmatic concept. The pragmatic concept says, the meaning of life is in practical significance and in bringing real benefit to yourself and others. Life gains meaning when a person's efforts have a tangible result, whether in work, family, education, or public service. A pragmatist starts the morning with a sense of purpose, not because they have to, but because they know every new day is a chance to improve something. Their morning is simple and structured: exercise, breakfast, a brief plan, everything. With thoughts on how to be effective and useful throughout the day. Family and personal relationships. You care for loved ones by showing support, not in words, but in deeds. Your love is expressed through actions, in reliability, in the ability to support, in the readiness to take on part of the responsibility. You strive for relationships that are stable, honest, and developmental. Upbringing and education. You educate through example, work, discipline, respect. It's important to you that knowledge is not dead, but applied in life. You teach children not only to understand, but to act, not only to dream, but to implement. You believe that education should give the strength to act. Work and labor. Work for you is a path of self-realization and usefulness. You aim to perform it with quality, to improve processes, to find practical solutions. Your focus is on results, but not at the expense of decency and human respect. You respect labor and respect working people. Business and entrepreneurship. If you are an entrepreneur, then your business addresses a real need. You build a product or service that truly helps. You strive for sustainability, transparency, efficiency. Your approach is, do so that it works effectively. Attitude towards society. You are engaged in social processes, not for fame or declarations, but because you see the need. You support initiatives to bring order where it is lacking. You value concrete actions for the common good. Attitude toward nature. You treat nature as a resource that must be used wisely. You care about ecology not due to trend, but from a sense of responsibility. What matters to you is that what you do does not destroy, but supports nature's balance. Why do you live? A pragmatist feels satisfaction when their efforts bring results. They may be tired, but not empty. Their meaning in life is made up of usefulness, specificity, and measurable contribution. They know. To live means to act. Truth is what works, asserted William James, American philosopher and psychologist, one of the founders of pragmatism. For you, meaning is not an abstract idea, but what is confirmed daily in action. You believe life becomes meaningful when you can change something for the better, even just a little. Eudaimonic concept. Eudaimonism asserts, the meaning of life is in achieving happiness through virtue and the development of the soul. This happiness is not connected with fleeting pleasure. It requires effort, maturity, and a striving for inner harmony. Such a person believes, only by living with dignity can one be truly happy. You wake up with gratitude and the intention to live the day with dignity. You may start your morning with reading, meditation, or simple reflection. How can I be better than yesterday? You care for your body, soul, and mind, because all of these are part of the whole. Family and personal relationships. The Eudaimonist values loyalty, honesty, and support. They build relationships not for benefit or convenience, but for mutual growth. They know how to love, forgive, support. Their goal is to be someone you can rely on. Upbringing and education. You educate not for success, but for the making of a person. You teach children to strive for truth, goodness, and justice. You instill values, develop critical thinking. What matters is not just what you know, but who you are becoming. Work and labor. Work is a path of self-realization. You work honestly, striving for mastery and benefit to others. You respect your colleagues and do not look for the easy way. Your labor is an expression of character. Business and entrepreneurship. You build your business with respect for people, and with responsibility to society. Your business is a form of service, a quality product, decent working conditions, contribution to development. You care not only about profit, but about reputation, impact, and benefit. Attitude toward society. You feel yourself a citizen. You participate in the life of society, serve the common good. You are not indifferent. You care about others, help when you can, without forgetting personal responsibility. Attitude toward nature. Nature is not just a resource, but part of the larger order. You respect nature, strive to live sustainably, understanding. Virtue is also care for the future. You are in harmony with the world and yourself. Why do you live? As a Eudaimonist, you feel peace, clarity, and deep satisfaction. Your happiness is not loud, but solid. You live with a sense that you are on the right path. You know how to overcome difficulties and enjoy simple things. Happiness is activity of the soul in accordance with virtue, said Aristotle. A person who lives by this concept knows meaning lies in striving for the better, not for perfection, but for something deeper, wiser, and more worthy. And every day is an opportunity to take a step in that direction. Naturalistic concept. The meaning of life, according to the naturalistic concept, lies in living in harmony with the laws of nature. It is not a path of submission, but a path of conscious participation, when a person lives feeling themselves as part of a whole. Not against nature, not above it, but together with it. You open your eyes not to an alarm, but to light and silence. Your morning is contact with the body and breath, not with a schedule. You may step barefoot onto the balcony, feel the freshness of morning, take a deep breath. For you, it's not about being on time, but about starting the day in harmony with yourself and the surrounding world. Family and personal relationships. In relationships, you strive for balance and naturalness. You create an atmosphere where there is no pressure, but there is acceptance. Relationships with loved ones are a space where you can breathe freely, grow, be yourself. Upbringing and education. You don't place the child on tracks of achievement. You give them space to grow at their own pace. You teach not through force, but through trust. You view education as a path of revealing inner nature, not a race for scores. Work and labor. Your work moves at the pace of breath. You know how to do well, but don't exhaust yourself for others' expectations. It matters to you that work doesn't harm your health, your inner rhythm, your relationships. You know how to stop in time, take a break, preserve yourself. For you, work is part of life, not a means of destroying it. Business and entrepreneurship. If you are an entrepreneur, you bet on sustainability, ecological awareness, honesty. Your business is not aggressive. It doesn't destroy but creates. You respect others' labor and don't place profit above people and nature. Your value lies in balance, not in chasing. Attitude toward society. You are not a fan of loud declarations, but your respect for life shows in actions. You may help a neighbor, support a local initiative, behave politely and with restraint. You believe that big things start small, and the best way to serve society is to live honestly and in harmony. Attitude toward nature. You don't just love nature, you live with it. You know seasonal foods, listen to the wind, walk in the forest not for photos, but to hear yourself. Nature is your teacher, your companion, your home. Why do you live? You feel peace. Not the kind from inaction, but the kind that is born from inner agreement. You may feel sadness, you may feel joy, but all of it is in your rhythm. You're not in a hurry. You live not in comparison, but in acceptance. Your meaning in life lies in being, in presence, in respect for life as such. A person with this meaning of life does not seek to escape the world. They seek to be one with it. In this lies their purpose, their strength, and their world. Man follows earth. Earth follows heaven. Heaven follows the Tao. Tao follows its own nature, wrote Laozi, the ancient Chinese philosopher, keeper of China's spiritual tradition and founder of Taoism. We live in a world where millions of people every day do similar actions: wake up, work, communicate, experience hardships, and feel joy. But behind this outward similarity lies an enormous inner diversity in how each person sees and feels the meaning of their life. Someone seeks truth, someone God's will. One strives for joy, another for virtue. Someone wants to be useful, someone to be authentic. We are not obliged to choose one concept forever. Perhaps in different periods of life, different ideas inspire us, or one of them becomes our personal answer. The main thing is not to stop asking yourself questions, not to be afraid to search, because the very search for meaning already makes us deeper, more conscious, more human. Which of these paths is closer to you? How do you find meaning in your daily life? Write in the comments. Support the video with a like if it resonated with you. And remember, every day is a chance not just to live, but to live with meaning.